Well, we have a game update today. The last two game updates have been about the Project Skilling Rebalance thing, and this one is even more adjustments to the Project Rebalance Skilling Edition. And not just Project Rebalance, but there's some more updates unrelated to Project Rebalance for, looks like minigames. Jumping into the news post, we have minigame tweaks, skilling adjustments, and more. This week's update brings minigame improvements and tweaks to the recent skilling changes from Project Rebalance. And it says there's some under-the-hood changes this week that may temporarily affect third-party clients until they get up to date. First part of the news post, we're in the Project Rebalance skilling tweaks. They have changed the expert mining gloves once again. With the first update, it made it so that you would get 2 extra mines of sandstone and granite, but that was kind of OP, so the next update, or actually the next day, they disabled it, and they announced that in the next update that they had disabled it. But now another update later, they have re-enabled it, but not for granite, and it only gives you 1 extra sandstone. But it says right here you're able to mine a 3 extra sandstone, but that wasn't the case. It was only 2 extra. Dude, I swear Jagex is gaslighting. Here's the expert mining gloves page, and it shows the update changes to it. Right here, May 8th, that was the original Project Rebalance. Sandstone and granite have a flat 2 rock saves when worn. It really doesn't matter. I'm being extra pedantic for no reason. With today's update, they re-enabled the expert mining gloves for sandstone, not granite, and you only get 1 extra sandstone. I only had the regular mining gloves on this account, but before starting the video, I saw that I had more than enough unidentified minerals to upgrade them all the way, so I did that, and now I have the expert mining gloves to be able to show this off. Let's show these bad boys off. So when I click the rock, I'll get the first one, and then because I have the gloves, you get a guaranteed second mine every single time. It's not a % chance to get a second mine. And I'll test it on granite too, just to see and confirm that, yeah, you do not. Okay, well, the rock armor gave me a double, but you do not get 2 mines on granite. In case you missed it from when they first updated the mining gloves, look how many extra gathers you get from all these different types of rocks. Like with iron, you get 3 extra, so 4 mines in total. Iron's like very chill now. Next up, they have hotfixed a couple of the things at Zalcano that they changed. So now you have to deal some armor damage to Zalcano no matter how much damage you did over the course of the fight. I assume that's to be eligible for loot, if not even the KC as well. And then the minimum contribution required has increased, which I think means masses will be a little bit worse than they were before, because with one of the recent changes, they made it so that it's possible to 1-down Zalcano. And if there's even higher minimum contribution required and people are 1-downing Zalcano, it makes it even less likely that you're going to reach that threshold. I think Jagex is trying to promote people doing this in small teams. A third hotfix to the Brimhaven Agility Dungeon. I don't think it was mentioned in the... Here, let's go back to the last news post, because the title of my last video was about the fact that Jagex didn't even mention that there was a broken method of Brimhaven Agility. Yeah, here's the previous news post, and if we go down to hotfixes, even to this day, they did not acknowledge that there was anything wrong with Brimhaven Agility. So it's kind of funny that right here they say a third hotfix, like it just implies everyone knew about it anyways. I guess it wasn't fully fixed, and if you teleport out instead of leaving by going up the ladder, that you were able to go back in still, but now it is fixed for real. Oh man, another update to paladins, gnomes, and heroes, where you can get, oh, it did kind of out of order, gnomes, paladins, heroes. You get mediums, hards, and elites from pickpocketing them. They reduced the fail rate from all 3 of these. They reduced them again in the previous update, and once again, they reduced them for a 3rd time, the fail rate. And it gives examples of XP rates, but it only gives examples for paladins. 90k XP per hour at level 70 to over 180k per hour at level 99. What it doesn't mention here though is that they increased the XP. Well, so far I've checked out the gnome page. Let's look at them. For gnomes, they increased it from 128.5 to 133.5, so nothing massive, but it's funny seeing here, fail rate's been reduced, fail rate's been reduced further, fail rate's been reduced further. Taking a look at paladins, they did not increase the XP per pickpocket with this update, and then same for heroes. Okay, so it's only the gnomes that had their XP per thief increased, or maybe it's possible people haven't tested it and put it on the wiki yet. Fine, quit begging, I'll test it out. For paladins, the wiki says it should be 131.8 XP. Let's see if we get that. Okay, so that has not changed. And heroes are listed as 163.3 thieving XP. Okay, yeah, so they have not changed, just the gnomes. Man, I made this whole video about thieving gnomes, testing out the clues per hour and the XP per hour, and it's already out of date a week later. That's fine though. I think it's kind of cool actually to have like a documentation of a snapshot of the game, of what it was like at a specific time. I think it's a really good change though, at least for the gnomes. I haven't tested out paladins or heroes, but if they were kind of like on par with how gnomes were, then they probably need to be buffed too, because gnomes were really only worth it for a very specific situation. If you were an Ironman with 99 thieving already, and you were going for the collection log and for thieving ranks, then it was worth it. So hopefully this makes it a bit more worthwhile to thieve gnomes for medium clues on lower level Ironmen, or Ironmen that have lower than 99 thieving. And I think we can all agree that it's better that Jagex puts stuff into the game where it's underpowered and then buff it slowly from there, rather than making something overpowered and everyone takes advantage of it for a week and they have to nerf it because they realize it's too OP. Fever spiders, which is a great transition into the next part of the update here. Fever spiders. We are walking back a change we made to the fever spiders loot table last. Whoa. You will not gaslight girl boss gatekeep me this time, because I checked. I know this was 2 weeks ago. This was not last week. It doesn't matter. Okay. They were like over 1 million GP per hour, and they only require 42 Slayer. Well, 42 Slayer, and you have to have started the Rum Deal quest. But that's pretty low requirements relative to how much GP you could make. The reason why it was such good GP is because they added Alks. So even as an Ironman, it was really good GP per hour at a relatively lowish level. There was a Rune Medium Helm, they changed that to, or Rune Medium Helm and Rune Battle Axe, they changed it to adamant versions of them. And they dropped water battle staves, which have now been changed to limpet roots. If we take a look at the drop table now, this is the main drop table. Then you got the herbs, other, and then rare drop table. We can ignore that part. Really, this is kind of the main thing here. Yeah, I think this is a lot less OP than it used to be, but if you're an Ironman, you want those red d'hide chaps, could be a good excuse to come here. Maybe you want some pure essence early on. I think it's interesting they chose to put limpet roots on the drop table, because quarms are like the other main thing, and those two you combine together to make the super strengths. Over the last 2 weeks, I have seen so many of these fever spider videos. Fever spiders are insane GP per hour. Yeah, this is how far back it goes, 2 weeks ago. Based on a few of the videos I watched, before this update, it was about 1.2 mil GP per hour. But now, if you want to calculate it, each kill is now worth 1,233 GP. And based on the videos I watched, it looks like it was 350 kills per hour. That is like on a higher-ish level account where you have pretty good gear. Comparing before and after, if you multiply this by 350 kills per hour, that's about 430k GP per hour. The GP per hour is 1/3 of what it used to be. But really, it's kind of even less, because you're going to run out of inventory space for the limpet roots. You're probably not going to be caring about the bass and banking those either. So if you take all that out, maybe it's like 400k of value per hour. Moving on from the fever spiders, there's one more part to the Project Rebalance, which is just some tiny tweaks. They corrected a message at Motherload Mine, and Eferte's Aid, which is the enchanted topaz ring, had a slight fix as well. Okay, next section, minigame improvements. The minigame with the most changes that they made this week was Trouble Brewing. You now get all this XP for the different skilling actions that you do within the minigame. There's a list of all the skilling actions that you would do in Trouble Brewing, like capturing a monkey or obtaining/depositing these different items. I'd like the last thing on the list here. Figuring out how any of this results in rum earns you the gratitude of the entire community management team. I don't think adding XP to actions in the minigame is going to make more people do the minigame that weren't already going to do it anyways, but it's a step in the right direction for something that should have been done at some point. As of right now, I think it's about the same pieces of 8 per game, whether you play it properly or do the AFK method. It's probably slightly more if you actually play it, but most people do not do that. Maybe in the future, they'll make it a lot more worth your time to properly play the minigame. There's one more update to Trouble Brewing that may not seem big, but for some players, this is actually huge. The reward currency from Trouble Brewing, which is called Pieces of 8, have been converted into a variable stored on your account rather than a physical item. This is nice for me because it saves me bank space. They have deleted the Pieces of 8 from my bank. There was not even a placeholder there. It's just completely gone with a bank slot freed up. But if we trade Honest Jimmy, we have to go there. Now it's, yeah, like it says, a variable stored on your account. It's just a number here now. I have not seen this interface for Trouble Brewing before. I don't know if it came with this week's update or maybe it is within the last few weeks, but I haven't looked at the shop since then. This is probably nice though, because it's gonna be less likely that I'm gonna accidentally buy an item when I don't mean to, or accidentally do like buy all or buy 5 compared to what the old interface looked like. The reason this update is really huge though is because of Ultimate Ironmen. The way Trouble Brewing works is that if you try to go in with any items in your inventory, you can't. And as a UIM, you can't just put your items in the bank because UIMs don't have a bank. The way a UIM would have to store their items would be either dying and making a death pile on the ground, which it stays for 1 hour, or dying to a boss with a death storage like Zulrah or Vorkath, and the items will stay there indefinitely. There's no 1 hour limit. But the problem with that is that after each game of Trouble Brewing, you would get the pieces of 8 in your inventory. And you can't go into Trouble Brewing with anything in your inventory, including pieces of 8, which meant that after every game of Trouble Brewing, a UIM would have to get rid of their pieces of 8 from their inventory. If you had your items at a death storage like Zulrah, you can't die again because all your items in the storage get deleted, so you have to take out all your items from there and then re-die. But taking all of your items out kind of means that you need to get a looting bag, so typically UIMs would just make a death pile, and then after probably every 2 games, because that'd be like 40-45 minutes, you'd redo the death pile every 2 games. I mean, there's a method to do, I think, like 5-minute games of Trouble Brewing that you need 2 alts for, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. It doesn't change the point I'm trying to make anyways. UIMs would have to redo their death pile every 45 minutes if they want to grind out Trouble Brewing. And another thing is that they would have to grind it out, because if you don't get enough pieces of 8 in order to be able to afford an item, you probably don't want to hold on to pieces of 8 in your inventory if you're going to do other activities like bossing. So you'd have to stay here and commit to grinding out. I think the cheapest thing is 500. Yeah, 500 pieces of 8 at the very minimum. So if you got to 600 pieces of 8, you're either going to be throwing 100 out or committing to grinding out 400 more pieces of 8. Well, there is some cheaper stuff on here, but you get these collection log slots done very quickly. Very big update for UIM collection loggers, but something that you can't do is you can't sell stuff back to the shop when you buy it. A lot of other shops, like Castle Wars, for example, you can sell the items back for 100% of the points that you spent. A lot of other minigames, you get 80% of the reward points back, but with Trouble Brewing, you cannot sell the stuff back. I don't mean the stuff as in the stuff, I mean all of this on the menu. You can't sell it back. The thing I'm trying to say though is that someday I wouldn't be surprised if they did allow you to sell it back for 80% of the points. Although I think Jagex is waiting until I complete the collection log before they make that change. So I'll keep you all updated in my progress series when I complete that, so you can all be excited for for that to get easier. Next, if you play Clan Wars, they added a classic free-to-play option. Man, I don't even know the last time I played Clan Wars. I kind of forgot that was in the game. Then we have fully grown plants in Tithe Farm will no longer decay. Ooh. There's been a lot of changes to Tithe Farm over the years that has made it easier and easier, and we got another one that's a nice little quality of life thing. I'm kind of curious. I haven't tried Tithe Farm since Barbarian Farming came out. Can I plant these as well without a seed dibber? Oh, you can. Wait. Whoa, my character had a seed dibber in my hand. Oh wait, I need a watering can, don't I? Wait, did you see that though? I don't have a seed dibber on me, except I do. Where's my character getting that from? If you haven't done Tithe Farm before, there's these timers, and when the timers run out, the plant dies. When you water it though, it goes to the next stage when the timer runs out, and the timer resets after that. But when the plant was fully grown and ready to be harvested, it would still have the timer going, and it would die if you didn't harvest it in time. RuneLite still shows the timer, but this update's from today, so maybe RuneLite hasn't gotten rid of it yet. But I'll wait till the timer goes out just to double check and confirm that there is not a timer. Okay, here we go. What's gonna happen? Nothing. Nothing happens. It just disappears, and you can harvest it. And the final thing on the list of minigame changes is the Guardians of the Rift entry barrier received some visual updates. It'll be even more red when you're unable to enter the minigame, and they added a red eye open variant for scenarios where the player count has reached 200, but the game hasn't started. In this world, it is not red because there's no minigame going on, but let's hop over to a GOTR world. Oh, here's the thing. It's red with the eye open. I don't know how red it was before, but this is how red it is now. Oh, and the eye just closed. Oh, okay, cool. The max amount of players you can have in a game of GOTR is 200, so that's why they chose 200 for the red eye open, meaning the game hasn't started, but it is full. Oh, the last thing they say, our next quality of life poll will see us focus on more significant changes to some minigames/activities, including Toad and GOTR, so stay tuned to see what happens with those. And the final section of the news post, or the final update related section of the news post, is the other changes. You know, with the GE, there's the button to allow you to put it up 5% or down 5%. Well, now you can set what that percent is. It doesn't have to be 5. If you didn't know this, by the way, fun fact, Ironmen can use the GE, but there's only one item they can buy off the GE. See, there's no sell offer. It's just to buy a bond. And here, yeah, here's the new percent thing. So you can customize it to, let's do 99. You can move it down 99% with one click, or up 99% with one click. I think the next change that people are going to ask for is that if you have like a custom for the minus and a custom for the plus, seems like the natural progression of how updates go. There's a couple of changes to Theater of Blood regular mode at Verzik. When there's one player remaining, they made 2 changes, and they're both for during P2. Only one red Nilo will spawn, and the lightning ball damage is capped. They added a warning message if you try to release a mature Teku Salamander. Teku Salamanders cannot be equipped. It's the mature Teku Salamanders that you can equip, and these are a 1 in 1,000 chance to get for each Teku Salamander that you hunt, and you can equip them. Now let's see if you try to release it. There's the warning message. When I was hunting Teku Salamanders for Hunter Rumors, I had the left click swapped to release, so I would just spam click all of them to release them. But whenever I got a mature Teku Salamander, it would equip it when I clicked it because that was the default left click option. The troll tunnels going up to Trollweiss have been restored to single way combat. It was accidentally made multi-combat. And there were a couple times I was going up there where I almost died because I forgot to turn on Prey Melee. The Staff of the Dead special attack, which reduces incoming melee damage by 50%, now gets cleared when you use a rejuvenation pool inside the POH. Ooh, a new option's been added to the settings menu that allows you to pick your hit sounds, which is the sound your character makes when they're hit by an enemy. I live for these kinds of updates, these little tiny things. Okay, we got type A and type B. I'm gonna turn sounds on. We'll hear what that sounds like. We're going to start with type A. We'll see what this sounds like. And I do have to actually take damage from the NPC. Zeros don't count, so I will record. I'll keep recording until I take a hit. Okay, that's type A. I think that's the kind that's always been in the game, right? That sounded sort of familiar. But then we've also got type B. We'll switch it over. Let's hear what that sounds like. Oh, okay, interesting. Are you Team A or Team B? Let me know in the comments. Elven Teleport Crystals now have a toggle option when you right click, so you can set the left click to be Lightya or Periph. Most people use Runelight, which means you could already swap the left click to be whatever you want it to be, but there's a lot of people that also only play mobile, so it's nice that they let you toggle it. They adjusted the animations of worms because it looks like it was giving people seizures. Wow. And the final thing, they fixed a bug where it was possible to skip Vedion's second phase. I wonder if that was always possible or if there was a recent change that made that possible and they're kind of fixing that shortly after. Because that's pretty crazy that you were able to, what sounds like, essentially get Vedion KCs twice as fast. And that's really it. The rest is kind of random news. They announced Deadman Armageddon is going to be taking place from July 19th through August 3rd. And they're going to be pulling tradable cosmetic rewards that you can get from it, similar to the tradable cosmetics that you get from leagues, which means if you're an Ironman, then you're going to have to play Deadman if you want to get those. And then I talked about RuneFest recently as well. Here's a quick update. The update is really that they don't have anything to update with, but if you do want to read it, you can check this out. But yeah, there's not really any news about it. They're just saying that they're trying their best to figure out what they can do. But that is all for today. I hope you like this style of video and that the video is able to help out in some way or another, or at the very least, I hope it kept you entertained. But yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.